If you're in a place right now where you're thinking, I don't even know, I just don't know, you do know. It's not the fact that you don't know, it's the fact that you don't know what to do with what you know. Does that make sense? Hope so. So anyway, let's get back to the Seven of Swords. It's the liar, cheater, deception card. Now, for some of you, with that coming up as underlying energy for this week, I kind of feel like this is a week where it's a quest for the truth, your own personal truth. You know, truth is not as much as people say it is. And I'm sure people will bring up shit like murderers and stuff to you. Okay, whatever. But, you know, with the Seven of Swords coming up, this is your own personal truth, not the objective truth, because there's no such thing. Your own subjective truth. What is your truth? Now, some of you know what your truth is and you're not sharing it. For others of you, it's about, because you don't want to take the risk, you know, you might think, well, that's what I want, that's my truth, but I don't know if I'm ready to take that risk. I'm not sure if I'm ready to act on this. Some of you are trying to escape something. Some of you are dealing with a liar. You know, it's going to play out in different ways, especially as an underlying energy for this week. But don't worry about anyone else. General reading, I know it can go both ways. Focus on your own truth with the Seven of Swords here. And what are you doing about that truth? How are you acting from that truth? Are you acting on it? Are you thinking, you know, no, can't hear, can't see. I don't want to deal with this. It's the thief in the night. He's kind of looking on, right? What? What is he looking on at? What is it that he's trying to avoid? What is he not wanting to risk? Well, we have the Page of Cups. Now, pages, they can be messengers, yes. And so in that sense, Cups is emotions, right? This is not wanting to say something, not wanting to say how you feel, or not even wanting to look at how you feel. The thing with the Page of Cups, it's the beginning. I see the pages very similar to the aces. It's the beginning of the energy. It's just a page. It's not even got to knight, let alone kings and queens yet. Because the king's mastered everything. The page is just beginning. It's that budding emotion. Now, that doesn't mean you haven't felt it for a while. I think you have. I think whatever it was, we have another page here, began as something very practical. And so this doesn't have to be about relationship before everyone starts thinking, is it romantic? It doesn't have to be. It's not a love reading. There's nothing to show. We can use, love is not just about romance. Love is, we can love everything. But there's something there. There's something that I feel like it can't be ignored anymore. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing this, shifty stuff, hiding in the shadows from it, if it was that easy to dodge. But there is an emotion here that you're feeling, and you know it. And the thing with the Page of Cups is, it's called the puppy love card, or, you know, it's that usually he has a little fish in his cup. And that little fish needs to be nurtured. There's something here. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be grown. And I kind of think that that's what you're trying to figure out this week. Do I grow this? Do I speak on this? Do I take action on this? What do I do? And it's even deeper than that. I think it's understanding why you're trying to avoid feeling what you're feeling, or why you don't want to nurture it and grow it. But yeah, for some of you, it's been here a while. Because we have the Page of Coins. We have another page coming up as the past. And remember, this is just the foundations of last week, last month, last year, whatever. The Page of Coins is the Page of Pentacles. This is something that begins kind of small, right? So even if it's, I mean, this could be work, business, relationship. This coin can indicate it's something of value. But coins or pentacles are all about tangible representations of security. So something, this is tiny. This is something small. It began small, right? May have been some practical connection. Maybe someone that you work with. Maybe someone that a client. Maybe one of your suppliers for your business. Something like that. You know, it's of value to you. The person's of value to you, but practical value. They're of practical value to you. That's not the case now. Now there's some emotion behind this. Now, it doesn't, like I said, let's just deal with the other stuff first, because then I'm going to take it in a romantic direction, because I know for most people it is going to be that. But use the energies how they apply to your life, right? So when we have however this began, now you want to grow this. There's something to be nurtured here. Maybe you want to work more closely. Maybe you want to offer them a partnership. Maybe whatever. But it's to do with something that you love, that your heart desires, that I want to do this. I want to make an offer about this. But it's coming from you, Aquarius. This is not about waiting for someone else to offer you something. I just want to be clear on that. As much as I say, the general readings are both ways, and I've been telling people this, there's some people that they wait for Venus retrograde for an ex to get in touch with them. They wait. And I said, why bother waiting? You're just standing in the doorway of that person or looking at the door. Will they open the door to me? Just knock on the door. Either you're going to go through the door or you're going to get it slammed in your face, but at least that's done, right? Nothing shifts and moves with this kind of passive energy. And a lot of people are saying, don't call your ex, don't do it. Just do it. Deal with the consequences. If that's not coming up here, but I'm just saying that, that's the kind of energy that's coming up here. Just act. It's about acting on what it is that you're feeling. But I get it. For you guys at this moment, you're not sure if you want to take the risk because it feels risky. Before it was practical, before it was just you were good on this, the practical aspects of whatever it is that you were dealing with, it's no longer practical. Now it's come to an emotional place. And that's why you're pausing and saying, well, what is this about? Why am I feeling this? It was okay when it was this. The thing with the Page of Coins or the Page of Pentacles is it can grow to something long term, stable, sturdy. And you're good with it. You're good at when it's this level. It's when the emotions get involved. You're thinking, whoa, hang on a second, what's going on here? And so, like I said, the only kind of secrets or shadows or not saying how you feel, trusting your intuition and that kind of stuff, energy, is the moon. That's the only one that's missing. Otherwise, everything, you have the other two. There are three major ones. Seven of Swords, High Priestess, and the moon. They all talk about secrets in the shadows, not saying things. And the High Priestess, like I said, she knows everything. That's you guys. The know-it-alls, right? You have a gut feeling about this. Always trust yourself. I had someone ask me that the other day. How do you know if it's just a niggle, if it's a fear, if it's a doubt, if it's intuition? And I'll do like a more, I have actually talked about this before, in depth. But when you know, and especially you, Aquarius, when you know. And usually I'll say this, and I'm an Aquarius sun, so I'm not judging anyone. If I ever have a freak out, and they don't happen that often, or if I'm uncertain, then I know there's something there. I look even more in the shadows because I think, okay, well, something's obviously getting to me. And sometimes my friends will, the friends that know about astrology and stuff, and I always say to them, Aquarius has figured something out. The rest of me hasn't figured it out yet. Because, we're all the signs in our birth chart, the other aspects that we have, the other placements that we have. And I say, Aquarius has figured something out. The rest of me hasn't caught up. But we're reading for Aquarius energy. So you know something, but she's passive. She doesn't act on it. She keeps it a secret. High Priestess. And the whole reason you haven't acted on it yet or done something with this is because you don't want to take a risk. You don't want to take a risk. I want to say this to you guys. Oftentimes, I read for a lot of people that want relationships or they want that dream job, whatever it is. We can love lots of different things. We are love, right? So we express them in different outlets. But it's almost like a guarantee. I want a guarantee with that. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to take a risk. And it's kind of that kind of energy coming through. But what is it? What is it that you're not saying? Why are you not going forward? Why is it that you're not acting on whatever it is that you know, that you feel, that you might have even put some work into? We're beginning stages, both 2 pages here. Why is this? I feel like the devil explains everything. Something's holding you back. Now, this might be because if there was some kind of toxic connection in the past and you're like, I ain't doing that again. I don't want to get into that. For others of you, this could be old behavioral patterns, the kinds of people that you go for. Temptation. I want to focus more on work. I don't want to focus on the emotional side. Devil's going to play out differently for everyone. Let's get a clarifier for the devil. Why is the devil there? Because it seems kind of strange, right? The future hasn't happened and it's not written in stone. And it's a projection from where we are right now. That's how you see yourself. You see yourself getting stuck in this kind of situation. And the devil is the illusion that you're stuck. It looks like a toxic situation and it's like, I'm getting into a toxic situation. But you don't know that. You don't know that yet. That's a projection from where you are. What did I say? What was the third card that was missing from this? The moon. It's your fears, guys. It's your fears. Whenever I see cards like the devil, 9 of swords, 10 of swords, anything like that coming up in the future, that is showing us what our fears are. And the moon has just explained that as well. But sorry guys, there's no excuse here because you have the High Priestess. Trust your gut. That's what the moon says as well. Trust your intuition in this. You're looking down the path. There's something that's kind of threatening. That's how it feels. Threatening to begin. And you're kind of pulling back into the shadows. Now, some of you might say, no, Jay, no. I want that job. I'm ready to go for it. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. Are you? You might be taking the steps, but are you going as far as you could? Are you saying everything that could be said? Are you applying for the actual job you want or the one that you think you can get? Because there is that kind of, I don't want to take a risk energy coming up here because I don't want to get stuck. I don't want to fall back into old behavioral patterns. I don't want to get into a toxic situation. That's all of those things that the devil says. And the moon says that too. So you're looking forward at the path that you're going on, right? And the moon says, can you walk this path in faith? Why? Because when you look down that pathway, you're going to see shadows along the path. And you don't know what's in the shadows. You don't know what's in the shadows. So like, I don't want to take the risk. I know that that path is going to take me to where I need to go, to that person, to that job, to that whatever. But I don't want to risk going through that shadow because I don't want to get stuck. But think about it. If you were looking down a road and there were shadows and you were telling yourself there's a wild dog there, there's a ditch there, there's someone waiting with a knife there, you don't actually know that until you go up to the shadow. So the moon is a card of illumination, but it's asking you to look at what is not revealed or what you are not revealing. 2 cards, trust your intuition. 3 cards about not secrets, passive energy, hiding away, shadow work, that kind of thing. This was safe. It kind of feels like whatever it is, it doesn't feel safe to you. You could tell someone this and they wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't understand it. They think, are you crazy? And, or it would kind of cement the stereotype of Aquarius as this kind of cold and heartless. We're not cold and heartless. We have feelings the same as everyone else. But we like to understand what we're feeling before we act on it. We have that amazing kind of that intuition or that knowledge, and it's working. This feels like, when you're running the numbers and trying to come up with an equation and trying to see what happens. It feels like you're doing that. You haven't said no to it. There's not a no here, full stop. This is you running the numbers. But I'm going to say this, you're coming up with the worst case scenario. And the reason I'm saying that is because the Queen of Cups is coming up here. Now, she's saying, Aquarius, you're not the Page of Cups. You're the Queen of Cups. You have more knowledge than this. Both of these energies are very similar. Whereas I see the Queen of Pentacles as very much like the Empress, I see the Queen of Cups as very much like the High Priestess. They're both very intuitive. I'm going to say it again. You know the answer, Aquarius. You know the answer. But you're looking at, it's your fears and your doubts that are keeping you trapped where you are, not to go forward. And it's communication. When I see pages coming up, this is about communication. When I see her, that's passive energy. So no one's acting, no one's saying anything. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to go up to someone and say, hey, I love you. Or, hey, I've dreamt of this job since I was a kid. Or, I need you in my life as my business partner or my work colleague. It doesn't have to be anything like that. But it is about being true to how you feel, because she's always true to how she feels. She knows who she wants to give her cup to. She knows if they're worthy. And it is worthy of exploration if it's this Page of Coins coming up as a past energy. You're solid at the very least. You have a good foundation here on which to build from. And forget people, forget relationships. Because have a look. All of these cards is solo energy. Solo energy coming up here. This is about what you want to do, what you're willing to do, why you're not willing to take a risk, understanding that. And if at the end of the day you decide my heart's worth more than that, I'm not going to get into this, at least own it. At least come out into the light, right? Not in the shadows. Don't hide there. Come out and say, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. Own it, right? Let's go start off with Unfinished Symphony. And that's what I was getting. I kind of feel, there's nothing here to show duality. But something is holding you back from going for something. And you're kind of, I think some of you have written yourselves off. I'm never going to be able to get over this, or I'm never going to do that. I'm just going to get in the same situation again. Be very careful of those stories that you tell. Especially you guys. Do you want to manifest that as your truth? You are that strong. You are that powerful. Unfinished symphony is like wrap it up. That one's a wrap. Whatever that song was, write a different ending, write it out in your journal, give them a call, say what you need to say, do whatever, but free yourself because there's something new that you're ready to go for. There's that kind of sense of being in two places, like you've got your foot in one situation, the other, and that's where you're kind of paused. You're like the deer in the headlights here, thinking, I don't know what to do. Like, where do I go? What do I do? And this tells you it's like here and now. Focus on the here and now. That's the past, that's the future, but you're in neither place. And what do I always say? You know, your life, our lives are a series of nows. Now is all that matters. Right now, act on what you know, because you're not acting on what you know, because you don't want to take a risk. Sometimes a risk is called for, and sometimes it isn't. If the risk is like, I'm going to lose, it's a risk to life, it's a risk to my home, it's a risk to, then, you know, you've got a reason to do this. But with all the cups that are coming up here, it doesn't feel like it's something like that. It feels like it was okay when it was practical. Now my emotions are involved. I'm putting the brakes on this. Now, like I said, general, maybe you're dealing with someone else that does that. But then even then, you know. So are you not taking the risk to call them out on that and to say, hey, look what's going on? Some of you might be involved with people that, you know, there's kind of like an ex that's kind of lurking around and you've not wanted to say anything. It might be time to say it. You don't want to get into this kind of situation. And it's a choice at this point. You know, whatever she chooses to do, you will either blindly go, not even blindly, because you'll know, she knows, right? Go into this. Because it's that self-fulfilling prophecy kind of energy to it. Or you can bloody shower this with love and go for what you want, what your heart wants. Act from that. Offer, look at her, she's holding that cup forward. For some of you, I will say this as well. Sorry, there's so much coming through here. Somebody might have already made an offer in the past, but it seemed too boring and small to you. But now you've kind of had a change of heart and you don't know how to say that to the person. And that could be about accepting that then.